Well, hello there. Welcome to Die Rolling. I'm the ever excitable Adam, and I'm back for some more lovely painting of the Valley of the Serpent Kings Shells of Brimstone set. So far it's a bit of a slow progress for me because so far we've got, well, one character, which is this lizard guy here, the Temple Guard. And over the past couple of, well, not a couple of streams, but I've done 2 streams where I've been painting this guy. And a bit out of breath from running up the stairs, man. How old am I getting? So, what's left to do on him? Well, there's a few things left to do. I've got a picture over here for reference. So, he's kind of got some feathery bits, apparently, around him, but I can't see them on the model. The picture's got some feathers. He does not. Oh, the feathers on the staff. Okay, so these feathers here to do. We've got the staff to do. We've got leather kind of bands to do. Bands are going to be easy, so really, like, the leather's going to take no time to kind of finish this guy off. Maybe some yellowy eyes, and then I'll apply a wash so you guys can see what that looks like. But yeah, it's been pretty fun painting this guy up. He looks pretty cool. I've got another 2 of these guys to do, so once I've done this one, I'll kind of just follow the videos I've done to remember how I painted them up and go from there. What else have I been doing in the meantime? Well, apart from getting startled by a spider that was actually living in the box, which, yeah, which all these minis, my kind of like work in progress minis were living in, I've been doing loads of Maladum painting. So Maladum turned up. It's a pretty cool kind of dungeon adventure game. It's like a dungeon skirmish kind of game. And I've basically painted the entire core set of this. And actually, this is a good comparison. So, yeah, it didn't take me too long to paint these guys. I think they turned out all right. That reminds me, I also have to do the base for, yeah, for my Temple Guard. Focus, there we go. Yeah, I don't think they look too bad. I'm happy with them anyway. It's a they'll do kind of job. But yeah, I painted a bunch of these guys up. All really interesting kind of fantasy sculpts of some kind or another. These guys are like kind of a combination of dead body parts to create some form of lovely creature. Yeah, so I've got a ton of these things I've been painting, which has been really nice actually getting back to painting and doing contrast paints means you can speed paint your way through a box in no time whatsoever. So obviously when it comes to filming content, I try to get stuff up for new things as soon as possible to try to maximize on the views, because obviously people are going to start searching for things like Maladum because they're like, oh, what's this game, or the new Cthulhu game, or, you know, things like that. So I try to, as soon as I get one of these things, I try to get some kind of footage out for them as soon as possible to capitalize on the popularity that there may be. And sometimes I succeed and sometimes I don't. If there's any games you'd love to see me do on the channel, please let me know. Because, yeah, I'm big fan of, yeah, doing what you guys want me to do, really. Now, you'll notice we've got a little kind of skull down here. Now, this is actually his kind of shield he has as an arm here, like a little kind of shoulder pad. And I don't know where my glue has gone. So it came off, which is good because I can paint it now. But I will have to paint it and then glue it back on later. So just to recap, we've got to do his staff, we've got to do the feathers down here, we've got to do all the leather around him, and then we've got to do the base, and a wash, and that's pretty much him done. You could knock up one of these guys in an hour and a half maybe, if you know what you're doing. If you're not stopping to talk to people or, you know, demonstrating things, that will take you no time at all, especially with speed paints. So talking of speed paints, we're going to use my favorite leather here. So this is hardened leather. This looks beautiful when you put it on. I absolutely love it. The only problem is it does like kind of bleed into everything else. You got to be really careful when using like army paint or speed paint. Now this is the original speed paints. There is a 2.0 version of speed paint out at the moment, which I've never tried, which I must give that a go. But I don't know if they've improved the viscosity of it. I don't know if that's the correct term. But yeah, we're going to give this a go. This is an action I'm used to doing, clearly. Guys, what have you been playing recently? Any board games you've been playing? Any fun things you've been painting? Any cool TV recommendations? What you got for me? What have you got? Show me what you got. I started watching the new show on Disney Plus, Grotesquerie or something like that. That's an interesting kind of horror thriller cop show thing, which is clearly going for scares over logic, I guess. And I do have something to hold him in, which I will just get. Just because it does make it a lot easier painting. Okay, there we go. So here he is. And I have to be very careful with this that it does not bleed into everything else. So I'll try and get this on camera as best I can. It looks like we are going to have some metal on here as well, because that looks like a metal hoop of some kind. But yeah, this stuff just goes on and looks beautiful. Now, if I recall correctly, we used a green kind of contrast paint over here. So when we're applying a wash, we don't really need to do much on the skin, because with these contrast paints, it does that wash for you, which is really good. I don't know how blurry this is. I'm going to put a light on in case that helps with a focus here. So trying this out in a new room in my house. This is where I'm currently doing all my office work. And thought, yeah, let's give this a go rather than do it on the kitchen table. Because the problem with downstairs, oh, he's already bled into the green. Problem with downstairs that I have is, there's lots of windows in there, so it's very bright. But yeah, guys, tell me in the comments below, what are you playing at the moment? What games, if any? Well, I'm glad that we can paint together here. What are you painting? Anything especially difficult or big? I find the Shadows of Brimstone miniatures aren't that daunting to paint, apart from the really big ones. But like these guys, yeah, like anyone can paint these. I think they're quite simple. They're not too complicated. There's not much of, oh wait, what's that? Because a lot of minis, you look at them and you're like, oh, what is that? I'm not quite sure what that represents. When I was doing the Maladum stuff, there's quite a lot. I had to refer to a lot of already kind of pre-made images, because it's like I don't actually understand what that is on that miniature. But yeah, it just gently does it around here. The Man Russ for 40k. Wow, good luck to you, sir. That'll be good. And do you use like contrast paints as well, or what kind of method do you use? Because I know personally, I used to paint with just regular paints before contrast paints came out, and I know when I painted up my Zombicide kind of Black Plague and Green Horde, if I had contrast paints then, it would have made things so much easier. Because when you're painting armies, it's a lot different to painting individual minis. Like I quite enjoy painting. Like, there's only 3 of these guys in the set, and that's fine to me. That's like the maximum amount of like same sculpts I want to do. Whereas when you've got an army and they're all the same and they've got to look identical, I just get, it's just so boring. So yeah, so contrast paints really help because you're not having to sit there for ages. I mean, granted, I'm not the best painter, as you can see, but some people are fantastic painters and they spend like over an hour on one mini for an army, and those armies have, 80 odd minis in there or something, and I just don't have the patience personally. So contrast paint for me, always, anything that helps me save time, gets to the channel. And the idea behind me painting my Valley of the Seven Kings stuff is because we are taking a break from doing Valley of Seven Kings, and I say we. You're right, contrast paints are handy and you can paint very fast. The result is better with regular paints. You know what? I agree with regular pants. Yes, with regular paints, I agree. I think it does look much better when you actually spend the time to do the base coat and then do highlights and washes. I think it does look much better. But yeah, I'm when I'm creating content for my channels, I think one of the things that sets me apart from other people who do content creation is I try to paint up all the miniatures. And a lot of the stuff you kind of find out there they don't have the time, because they're professional people and they're getting paid to do this stuff. Whereas I get sent the odd review copy and get through it as quickly as I can. So yeah, contrast paints really help me just get stuff to the table quicker. And some can look really nice. The best thing I found for contrast paint is actually painting faces, like human faces, and get it done really quick. Now, doing under here is tricky. I'm going to do under his like neck and get all this stuff without getting on the yellow. Because like I say, this bleeds. I really have no rhyme or reason here to where I'm painting next. Just trying not to get it on anything else. I don't think this is focusing very well, so I'm sorry for the quality of this. Hopefully my my lovely chat is helping keep you entertained. But yeah, we've taken a pause on doing Shadows of Brimstone stuff for the moment, just because I've got lots of stuff to get through, and the Shadows of Brimstone stuff, they don't pay me to do that. That stuff it's my favorite game system, so I like doing it and showing you guys, you know, when I get the rules right. It's fantastic. It doesn't often happen. Made a bit of a botch job there, guys. It's a botch job, as Frank Reynolds would say. But yeah, I do absolutely love Shadows of Brimstone. It's such a fun system. And yeah, I could just play that all day, if I'm honest. And sometimes I have. There are so many expansions for Shadows of Brimstone. It's the gift that keeps on giving. When I did my my kind of buyer's guide to Shadows of Brimstone, my first recommendation was don't get in here unless you are willing to pay a substantial amount of money over the years with this, because yeah, there's so many cool little expansions. What I like about it is they do have all these expansions, and they're really kind of they just flesh out all of the kind of other worlds you have. So just in case anyone who's listening has never heard of Shadows of Brimstone, is start off as a Wild West dungeon crawl. We go through these mines, and every now and again you come across portals where these monsters from other dimensions are coming. There's a sanity system in there. There's a kind of obviously a health system, and you know, if you get knocked out, you wake up with like mental with sanity issues, like hallucinations or things like that, or you could end up with like scars if you are taking out hit points and stuff. But yeah, what is interesting about the game is they have all these different other worlds, all these different kind of portals or other dimensions, and they keep expanding upon these things. They keep adding new monster types for these areas. So you could get yourself a core box of one of these, and like I said, it started off as a Western, but now there's obviously conquistadors, which is what this one's for, or you know, there's the Orient, like kind of the Asian kind of box, which is set during feudal Japan, but it's like an alternate one where you've got all these mutated kind of shoguns and stuff, all these tentacle kind of samurai and stuff you've got to worry about, and spider queens. But yeah, you could take one of these boxes and you could just buy all the expansions for the other worlds that come with them, and you can just combine everything. You can have conquistadors going up in feudal Japan. You can have Wild West characters going into outer space. You can have, like I have on my channel, people who are kind of like from a Warhammer 40,000 planet of like just permanent warfare, going around other places through portals. So that's the leather pretty much done. I've not done the best job. Bit of white there, as you can see, but the wash should hopefully hide some of that. So yeah, that's all the leather on there. And we're now going to move from leather onto Cygor Brown, which is my favorite kind of, if I'm doing anything which is wooden, I go for this Cygor Brown. It's so good. It's just a very dark kind of brown. I used it for my HeroQuest furniture. And yeah, it's great. But yeah, it can be a bit overpriced. There's so much of it, and some of it is expensive. But yeah, but the nice thing is in the UK it's not really like represented that well, so you can find some pretty good deals out there. But it is one of those things that is often a good idea to, if you are interested in it, if you go in at the Kickstarter level, then you get your money's worth. You really do, because they give you tons for the Kickstarter price, which is quite expensive anyway. But then it's one of those things. If you think you're going to buy these up eventually, then just buy the bullet and get the Kickstarter, because it's going to be cheaper in the long run for you. Okay, so we're going to go for Saiga Brown. Like I say, this is my favorite wood color, and I'm going to focus on what I'm painting on here now, because if this goes on the yellow, there is going to be no coming back for that. Well, there is some coming back. There is ways you can rescue anything really from painting, but you kind of don't want to have to go through the hassle of doing that. This is a good opportunity for me to talk about what's going on with the channel at the moment. So I've said we're taking a pause with our Shadows of Brimstone content. That's true in some ways, not so true in other ways. So I've got a new subscription membership I've added to the channel. I've kind of been holding off on doing a subscription. I've got, several kind of subscribers at this point, quite a few. But I've never done a membership, because I'm like, well, what can I actually offer somebody? I feel like, if I'm asking for £2 a month, there needs to be some value there. I wasn't sure what I could do. So I had a look at some other people and what they're kind of doing. And a lot of it is down to, community interaction, like votes and things like that. So I was like, you know what? I've got to a point now where I could do with a little support to continue with the channel. So let's add an optional membership in here. So there is now a membership. You can become an ultimate badass for £2 a month. And what that will get you is basically you will be involved in polls I'll be doing. So only the ultimate badasses will be kind of privy to these polls. They will basically say what's going to be happening on the channel. What would you like me to cover? And I'll do a kind of poll a month asking you what specific game you'd like me to do. You'll also, if you're an ultimate badass, you'll also get videos before anybody else. So at the moment, I'm filming Undaunted 2200, which, guys, is such a good game. It's a fantastic strategy game. I'm doing that with Just Jack, one of my friends. And we've already got the first episode went live on Friday for Ultimate Badasses, and then everyone else got it Monday. So that's what's going to be happening. You're going to get videos before anybody else. Now, like I say, these are kind of optional things. Like, if you don't mind waiting a few days, then you will get it. But if you want to support the channel and help me, keep making this content, then just subscribe, add your membership on there. And I'll be able to just keep doing this stuff and keep talking to you guys and showing you some cool stuff and showing you some not so cool stuff. Personally, you love heavy games, Lacerda, Feister, etc. I'll be honest, I've not played either of those games. Heaviest game. What's the heaviest game I played? I have played some very heavy games, to be fair. Quite a few euros. Okay, there's still a bit left on that staff. When you're painting something 2D, it's so much easier than 3D stuff. 3D stuff, there's alls. Oh, well, that's schoolboy error there. Yeah. So I know a lot of games. I play a lot of games. I am terrible for designers. Apart from, Eric Lang, I know who that guy is. Isaac Childress. And then other designers who I've actually interacted with, I know who they are. But although I did interact with Isaac Childress, the guy who made Gloomhaven, when he was very tired at Essen one year, the 1 year I went to Essen, which is this weekend, by the way, guys. If you are in Essen this weekend, I am very jealous. Essen, for those who are not in the know, is basically a big toy fair they do in Germany every year, and it's a great place to see what new board games are coming out, talk to new publishers, and meet friends and stuff. Although out of all the kind of expos I've been to, all the conventions I've been to, I would say I like that one the least, just because it's very tricky to actually get a game in or play with people. Best thing you can do there, I think, is get yourself an Airbnb nearby. Go one day, pick up games, queue up for games because you were going to have to queue if you want to play any games, and then go back to your the next couple of days, just play in your Airbnb with your friends. Okay, so that's the staff done, so I don't need any more wood. So now I'm going to go for some skeleton horde. I use this for skulls now. Anything like which is a skull or teeth or things like that, I tend to use this contrast paint, and we're going to use that for this thing here, which is the little kind of skull. And I think that's, I'm not sure what creature this skull's from. Is this a serpent man skull? I'm going to have to hold on to this. I'm not sure the best way to paint this, to be fair, specifically on camera. Like I could paint this off camera, no problem. But yeah, I'm going to do a liberal use of skeleton horde for this. And when it comes to painting, I'm fairly amateur, guys, but it always looks nice on the table, and it looks better than just grey kind of games. So are you just painting up Warhammer, or do you actually play it? Because I'll be honest, I've never actually enjoyed Warhammer. I played once and I enjoyed with a friend, but going up to a club and playing with random people, I did not enjoy. Although I'm really tempted to try Outrider Games, which is a new cafe that's opened up in Litchfield, which is quite close to me, and they've got a really big kind of gaming scene there. So I might see if I can get a game of Moonstone or something in there. We shall see. Okay, so that's the skull done, and that's going to be glued onto his shoulder just there. Now I've got skeleton horde, and I'm going to go and try for the teeth. Now I don't know whether this is a good idea. Nothing on the brush. Amazing, Adam. Amazing. Yeah. So, are you playing any spooky games for the upcoming Halloween season? It is spooky season, so lots of options for scary games in my household, at least. And my next Waffle Wednesday, which is on next Wednesday at 12:15. Last time you played 40k, your opponent had the first turn and he blowed up the third of your army before you even had your go, but you enjoyed it anyway. Yeah, do you know what? I think it all depends on who you play 40k with. When I played it with a friend, I had a blast. Really enjoyed it, even though I lost, I think, every match. I was getting used to the Tyrannid army, so I wasn't quite sure on strengths and stuff, and was very disappointed every time he just took out another 10 of my units with his overpowered Terminators. But I soon realised that actually it's not about keeping them alive; it's about getting the objectives. So got a bit of a crocodile smile there. So I've done the teeth there. Next, what should we do next, guys? Let's do some feathers. So the imagery has some bright yellow for the feathers, but I'm just going to do some fun colours I've got here. We'll use some contrast again. But yeah, any scary games planned for the Halloween season? My next Waffle Wednesday next week will be on Halloween games specifically, because earlier on in the year I did a top 10 horror games, and I was like, oh, I should do a top 10 horror games for Halloween, and then I was like, oh, and wait, I've already done that. Let's do them all blue. Why not? Whilst we're here. But yeah, next Wednesday I'll be talking about the best games for Halloween, because honestly, even though I've already done a top 10 horror games, I wouldn't say that some of those horror games were games that you should play on Halloween. There are a lot more kind of lighter games to play on Halloween. I'd say, off the top of my head, I already think Horrified is probably a really good shout, as is Mysterium. I'd say anything that's kind of like spooky or thematic is a really good shout, as well as anything that is simple to play or you can play in large groups. But anyway, I'm not going to give away all the games I'm going to be talking about for that today. I'll be talking about those next week. Okay, so next I'm going to need to do something for the, the kind of like these things here, the wraps. And I'm going to grab something from this lovely Escape from Stalingrad acrylic set I have here, which honestly I used this in Maladum and I had some really lovely colours from there. So I've got decomposed flesh here, which unfortunately there was some problem with the with this in transit, so it's kind of like a bit crusty, but the colours are lovely. They come out really well, and yeah. I think this is going to be different enough colour from the skeleton horde, so it won't look like this is bone. But I guess we'll see. And as always, guys, I'm new to painting on camera. It's not something I do that often because I normally just absolutely blitz speed paint stuff and just get through it. I don't often paint on camera, so it's tricky to get the right kind of angles and stuff and make it interesting for you guys, and also that it actually shows up on camera, because at the moment I feel like this is very blurry in this room. I don't know how it is for you guys, but I think it's too blurry. So going forward, any painting ones I'll be doing, which I'm painting up the entirety of the Valley of the Serpent King box set on my Waffle Wednesdays, and then at some point you'll see me actually take on the Valley of the Serpent King. But yeah, so I'll probably go back to filming at my kitchen table. And also, when you're painting on the same surface as you have a mounted tripod, it can be a bit wobbly. Sorry you can't hear me over your airbrush, you fancy pants person, you. Love to get an airbrush, but I think it's beyond my skill range. When you use airbrushes, they look so cool. Some of the stuff you can get out of them is fantastic. I often do have comments that the sound on my videos isn't great, so yeah, I do need to sort out a mic for this stuff. And looking at that, I've already found, look at that, missed a load of leather there on the side, so I'm going to go back and do that. But I'm happy with the wraps. Or am I? He's not. He just found some more. So we've actually got quite a bit of wraps just here. And we've, of course, gone over onto the brown. So this is a good example of when you make little mistakes and how you can correct them. Luckily, we can just use the Cygor brown to go over that once that's dried down a little bit, because it's a lighter colour. Cool. Well, I'm glad it's okay generally. And yeah, sorry to hear that Halloween's not your bag. You don't enjoy the old spooky game. I've got some fun ones planned for me this year, I think. I do enjoy the odd... well, I do enjoy horror games generally, to be fair. Okay, so we've done the feathers, we've done the staff, we've done the bands, we've done its teeth. Eyes. So the yellow in the little kind of picture of them. So we are going to do bright yellow eyes, and I'm going to use yellow for this. Wish me luck. I say wish me luck because I do not want to get this on the green. So I'm going to have to try and find a nice small brush out of my collection I can use for this. Something I can do a bit of accuracy on. I've got a fair few brushes to pick from, but I do enjoy Army Painter brushes the most. I will say they are my favourite brand. But yeah. I was just trying to do this where I'm not going to get it. Okay, well that worked. Oh my god, I can't believe I did that in one go. Amazing. So just a bit of metal on the back there. So lots of metal options. I've got some contrast metal, but you know what? Lead Belcher is my go-to kind of metal, really. It's a metal rung. We're just going to use my dirty old Lead Belcher. So we're just going to put that on shake that up first. But yeah, it doesn't take you too long to get through these things. And the thing with the Shadows of Brimstone box is you do get quite a few different monsters in there, just in the base set, to do. And you know, if you were painting these for yourself, I'd highly recommend that you just you know, you go back over some of this stuff, you highlight areas. I will not be making highlights. I am literally, oh, just got some silver on there. I am literally going to wash this guy, and that's it. This is, I'll have a base on there, I'll have a wash on him, and that's it. Because I could make highlights on this, I could make him look very nice. But when I've got such a large amount of minis to get through, I'm just making them board game ready, tabletop ready. I could do some lovely highlights on this, but yes, I'm not. Part of me does think, oh, could I do a little dry brush over here and make some of these kind of scales lighter? That might make it look really cool. But I'm not going to. I'm just a lazy bastard. I'm literally just going to touch this guy up with the places I've missed. So we've got some leather around there. There's a green bit on there that I went over with metallic color. And I've got sort of the brown on the staff down there. But that's it. I'm just going to put a wash over him and then call him done for now, to be fair. And the base is going to be simple. So I'm a big fan of the technical paints that Games Workshop do, Citadel paints do. I use it on everything. It's just so much simpler. So we've got technical Astogranite. I'm not going to use that because I don't feel like that is the kind of setting I'm doing for this. Some people with Shadows of Brimstone, instead of using these, they use clear plastic bases. And I really wish, when I started doing like Shadows of Brimstone, that those were readily available. Because when I got Shadows of Brimstone, I just assembled all the stuff with what came with it and made them that way. And now I wish that I've gone too far down the point of doing that. More important is to get rid of bare plastic. Where's the bare plastic? Is there anything on here I need to get rid of that you can see? But yes, we're going to put a muddy kind of swamp down there. This guy is from a place called Jargano, which is a muddy swamp. And I literally just use this brown muddy kind of thing. I want to say Strickland mud. I'm not sure if it's called that. Yes, exactly. I'm not. This is never going to be in competition. I'm not at that point in my mini painting career. So it's actually called Sterling mud. And this is basically just brown paint with sand in it. And it kind of comes out all lumpy and stuff. So it looks like you've got a bit of a textured base. Although the bases that come with this, they are kind of textured a little bit. So I'm going to touch up the few little things I missed. So I'm going to start with the leather. We'll do leather, we'll do brown, and then we'll do green. Never apologize for being French. Your English is so much better than my French is, so yeah, fair play. Anyone who could do dual languages, 10 points. That is such a great skill. But yeah, it's better to just get rid of bare plastic than, you know, make it golden demon entry. Yeah, I'm not putting him in for any painting competitions anytime soon. Okay, that I think will do for the leather. Okay, so there's leather done. Okay, we just have to do a bit of brown. The bottom of the staff where I went, the wraps went over. I'm calling them wraps. I don't actually know what they, what these little kind of bandages are. Okay, so that's that done. Simples. Then we need a green for the back. Oh, and my Cygor brown has leaked all over my hand, so that is lovely. So I do not have anything to wipe myself with. Pardon the expression. Okay, so we're going to go back to our orc flesh, which is what we used. Hello there, Adam. Good to see you. Okay, so we made a slight mistake on the back there, which you can't see on here, or maybe you can. Which is just to the left of the metallic rung, so we're going to put it in here. So, Adam, what are you painting at the moment? Are you painting anything? Are you playing anything fun? Any plans for Halloween? And hopefully, guys, I'm going to have a bit of time on the channel for about a week to just film a ton of content, which would be pretty cool. So that's everything I wanted to do. He's pretty much done. We've done his eyes. We've done everything on him that I think we need to do at this point. And, you know, he's a bit rough and ready, but that's fine. All my Shadows of Brimstone collection are a bit rough and ready. Mice and Mystics, lovely. That is a game I've always seen, always wanted to play. I never have, though. But I've played some of the other games. Also, I have the Cursed Preacher as well. For this. Oof, 118 scale Gothic Ruins for Horus Heresy. I do not envy you there. That is a lot of work. So this guy is a special kind of character you can get, who is, was a preacher, but now he's, well, not so much. He comes with one mission, and you have to get a bunch of different enemy types to play with him properly. And I've just realised this little square thing. I should have cut that out. Oh, well, it's part of his base now. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting him, but I need to... With him, there's a bunch of other enemy types I have that I have to paint up before I can use. We've also got a couple of other things to add to our collection here. So a female cowboy. Unfortunately, when I got all my cowboys out, I actually lost all the paperwork for them, believe it or not. So I don't have the tokens or any of their abilities, but because I did an unboxing video, I can actually work out all their abilities and stuff, which is pretty nice. So yeah, that's... We also have an Asgardian who's kind of on their way to be doing... I only have to do a little bit more. I should just finish her off, to be fair. But yeah, we did receive some new Shadows of Brimstone content as well. So we have the Ulfsark Skinwalkers. So you have these guys who start off as just kind of like berserker characters. And then once you get a certain amount of berserker rage, you turn into a werewolf. So they're going to be coming to the channel, and they're going to be... I'm going to do some exclusive videos for the Ultimate Badasses. Anyone who's subscribed to the channel, they're going to get not only access to videos before other people, but they're also going to get specific videos only they can see. And I'm going to do a vote every month to see what they would like me to do. Yeah, aroo, indeed. And then we have the Jaguar Warriors as well. And these ones come with two different types. So you can have a Jaguar Warrior or an Eagle Warrior. And there's a male and female of both. So basically, I'm going to make one up as a female eagle and a male jaguar, maybe, something like that, or vice versa. And basically assemble my own Shadows of Brimstone Avengers. That's the plan, and I'll do a little Avengers thing. Got so much for it, it's easy to do. So, the new Stalker board game. I have seen it. Awakened Realms do some fantastic games. I haven't actually backed one of the games since Nemesis Lockdown, I think. Just because the amount of games I have, there's no point me backing anything else unless it's absolutely won't get made otherwise. So yeah, so I have seen the Stalker game. I played the video game. I really enjoyed the video game, and the board game looks pretty cool. I'm talking to a guy on Instagram who has it and asking his opinion, but he's only just assembled the terrain. Sounds like a lot of setup at the moment. Before you can actually get a game in, which is always something you've got to worry about these days. Not worry about, but think about. Do you have time to set up a game and play it? Which is part of the problem with Shadows of Brimstone. It's such a large footprint and so many different things to add to it that it can be a bit daunting. Okay, so I believe everything is dried enough for me to paint a wash on here. But yeah, the new Stalker game looks great. I'd be very interested in playing that and seeing how it plays. But yeah, I don't have a copy, and I am not big enough for Awakened Realms to send me anything. So here we go. We're getting Corn on the Cob vibes straight away from this. And for anyone who doesn't know about painting, which I don't think is anybody who's currently watching this, this is a wash. So what this does, it basically goes in all the recesses and it highlights, well, all the recesses and stuff. So you get a lot more detail in your sculpt. Now, all the contrast paint I use actually already has kind of a wash in there. So it already does a lot of that highlighting for you. And I'm using Null Oil for this. There's various different shades you can get of washes. You can even make your own washes as well by just kind of thinning down some paints a little bit. But I'm using Null Oil because I've used it on all my Shadows of Brimstone miniatures to give them a kind of like cartoony look. I just feel Shadows of Brimstones is very much a Saturday morning breakfast cartoon that I, never played when I was a child, but I would have loved to have seen it, kind of thing. So I'm even applying it to all the green stuff that already had the wash in the contrast paint, just to bring it out a little bit more. Because when it dries, it does kind of lose a little bit of that edge, unless I'm not applying enough contrast paint, which I don't think anyone's ever told me I've not applied enough stuff to something, because I do go a little heavy-handed sometimes. But yeah, the new Stalker game does look pretty cool. I'd be interested in playing it. I feel like Awakened Realms are always, for the most part, for everything I played of theirs, I've really enjoyed. I know Tainted Grail got a lot of flack. But Awakened Realms made, obviously, Nemesis, which is one of my favourite games. They also made Lords of Hellas, which is a kind of area-controlled dudes on a map game where you are in ancient Greece, but it's like Greece with a kind of steampunk kind of theme to it. Well, it's sci-fi. It's ancient Greece meets sci-fi, and you're building these 3D kind of monuments on the board, like literally stand out from the board. The table presence is amazing. The gameplay is really fun. I love Greek mythology, so it's right up my alley. They did a Lords of Ragnarok, which is like obviously Norse kind of theme, and a lot of people like Vikings. I'm not a big fan of Vikings, if I'm honest. I never really got it. Maybe because I'm not an alpha male. I don't know. Just never really up my street. Although I have obviously got the Shadows of Brimstone Vikings, and I really enjoy those guys. I've applied too much wash to this guy because it's really pooling in some areas. But hopefully he looks a lot better now on camera. You can actually see him a lot clearer. So here's my shiny little chap. Quite a few areas I've missed on here, but whenever you're painting on camera, it's very tricky to get everything. But yeah, that will do. So that's my wash done. Yeah, it's always good when a plan comes together. And yeah, that's my Temple Guard so far. Next thing I have to do is add the Stirland mud. Now, if you are a real painter and you've got time, you can just sit there and wait for this to dry. I'm not a real painter. I just do this stuff to get it on my board game channel. Shh, don't tell anyone. And I'm going to create a massive sacrilege here to people now, because I'm actually going to use a brush to apply these. Play to our house. I think some games are just made for Kickstarter. Some games are just big boxes, hundreds of expansion miniatures, but not a good game in your opinion. And yeah, you're quite right. I found like when I first started kickstarting stuff, I backed obviously like things like Zombicide, for instance, Black Plague, and Green Horde, and I was so taken in by each day we're unlocking new miniatures, and this is amazing. Not thinking all these miniatures had already been they already have sculpts, they already made these miniatures, they know how much they're going to make. So yeah, we're not really unlocking anything. But anyway, really taken in by all that stuff, because I was like, we get there's a character now who looks Batman and all this stuff, but in the end, I didn't really play with any of them. That's the thing I find with the Zombicide stuff, at least. With that stuff, it's very much, oh, these are some cool heroes and you can have, but actually you never use them all. So I had loads of stuff just kind of sitting on a shelf, and in the end, guess what? Just moved them on. And the reason I'm using a brush rather than some kind of applicator is that a word? Is because I feel you can get closer into the miniatures without risking getting, you know, your mud on your miniatures or your sand or your granite or whatever. And he says that, and now watch me, I'm going to get this all over the mini. And, you know, if you're using this kind of stuff, normally you would then maybe brush over it with a lighter color to highlight it a little bit. But I'm not doing this normally. So all my stuff for Shadows of Brimstone is literally just a layer of this technical paint. And that's it. That's all they get. It's not for every game though. So for Shadows of Brimstone, I do this. Resident Evil, when I did that, I think I just did colored bases to say there were enemies. And I do that in some games. I actually color code the bases. If I was to redo a Zombicide, I would probably do different color bases for the different runners and walkers, because sometimes the sculpts, you can't tell them apart. And I'm pretty certain when I did Zombicide Invader, I did something similar, so I could tell them apart. Zombicide Invader, by the way, is probably one of the best Zombicide games you can play. I think it's the best one I've played so far. I'm enjoying the Marvel one, but yeah, Invader, which I moved on, and I'm actually a bit sad I moved on, because I'd like to play it again. But the problem is, it's yeah, the problem is I'd have to repaint it all. Now, I have got a bit of mud on him there, but do you know what? He's in a swamp. He's gonna be muddy. That's fine. And that's what I like about painting characters. I like to think of the little stories that are going on with them. That's why I don't like doing huge armies, because I feel like, oh, they're all the same. It's very hard to, yeah, to kind of resonate with them. Whereas you do individual things, you'd be like, well, this guy's in a swamp. You know, I could maybe put a scar in him somewhere if I make a mistake. And now around the outside, I'm going to use Mordant Earth, which is another technical paint, which is just basically a really thick black. So he's going to have to come out of his base now. And we're done now, guys. This is it. It's the last bits for me. Smaller groups of models every time. I agree. Now let's see him ping out of this. There we go, beautiful. Okay, so we have to pick him up by the top now. The Resident Evil board game. There are 3 Resident Evil board games currently out. Resident Evil 3, Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 1. It started with 2, they went to 3, then they went back to 1. If you were going to pick up any of them, I would highly recommend Resident Evil 1. It is the best of the bunch so far. And if you're looking for a true survival horror element, that is the one to go for. The other 2 are perfectly fine. The first one, Resident Evil 2, is a bit of a flawed gem in my personal opinion. I feel like it's got some good points. They really get the whole you're not supposed to kill every single zombie. You've got to like get through these missions as quickly as possible and reserve your ammunition between levels and stuff. So they get some things right, but other bits are a bit finicky. They have walls in there, but the walls are like just flimsy bits of cardboard that you honestly might just chuck away when you're unboxing the thing, because they're so like, they just don't look like anything. Resident Evil 3, they added a kind of resource management kind of city mode, where you are basically like kind of choose which level to go to next. So you start off in, let's say, you've got 3 areas unlocked, so the police station, commercial, and downtown, for instance. And then you choose which level you want to pick. You go onto that level, and then in that level there'll be a certain item that is optional to pick up. And if you pick that up, it will unlock another one of the areas you can go to. But you need to find an item to unlock it, and also you need to finish a particular scenario to find the location. So you have to find the location first, and then you have to unlock it with the item that you found. So there is a little bit of backtracking, and there's like a city danger level, and every time you play, you're going to be updating that, make it kind of harder for yourself, or easier if you manage to complete certain things. So it's pretty good. And Nemesis is a good little villain. He keeps turning up and foiling your plans. I'm going to have to wait for a minute to finish this off because that Modern Earth isn't going quite to plan. Resident Evil 1, however, best of the bunch. It's very well made. You are in the Spencer Mansion. You are trying to find Bravo Team. And is it Bravo Team or Alpha Team? I can't remember. You're trying to find one of the teams anyway. And you have to, one of the things you have to be careful of is the dead bodies on the level. If you leave too many dead bodies in the level, the overall kind of fear level goes up, and that makes the game harder. So you have to go around with little kind of like lighter fluid and burn corpses. And what's really good about that one is, in the other games, if you manage to kill one of the zombies, they're kind of dead. That's it. This time around, every time you kill a zombie, you replace a zombie with a corpse token, and there is a chance that corpse token can come back to life. So it's a lot harder, but it is much more. The horror is there. The horror is really in the game, whereas the other ones are more. I'd say Resident Evil 2 is a good start. Resident Evil 3 is more of an action movie, whereas this one is more of a true survival horror. So yeah, highly recommend, if you're going to pick up one of the Resident Evils, pick up Resident Evil 1. You don't need all the extra stuff, all the Kickstarter exclusive things like that. I would say play through the base game, and if you really enjoyed it, then maybe look for some other stuff. But I don't know about you guys. If you play a campaign game, do you ever come back to it? Genuinely interested, because I'm about to start doing Maladum. And in Maladum it says, oh, just use these 4 characters when you first start out. Oh, hello. So I'm using those 4 characters, but I've got all these other Kickstarter characters. And I'm like, oh, am I going to do another run? Because I don't know. I rarely play a game a second time. Yeah, exactly. Unless you've got another group you're playing with, or maybe you've got some expansion stuff you want to try out. I've made a right mess of this table, but this is it. That is my guide done. That is as much as I'm doing from, and that's all my Shards of Brimstone miniatures end up looking like this. Terrible. It's never going to be perfect with me. It is as good as that is as good as it gets. He'll sit there now to dry. And yeah, you can join me again for another Wednesday Waffle, where I will be painting up the next thing in Valley of the Serpent Kings, which, let me know in the comments below if there's a particular thing you'd like me to paint from there. We've obviously got our heroes on the front. I can't show you these guys because I've already painted those, so deal with it, punks. But we have some Drowned Dead. I can paint those guys up next if you'd like me to. We've got, obviously, the heroes. So we've got Conquistadors, Duelist there. We have the Curse Internal, which is a Kickstarter exclusive character, which I will be adding to the Ultimate Badass video. So I'm going to do the Curse Internal and the Jaguar Aztec Warrior going to do something. Some kind of quest, probably up against the Burrower or something like that. We've got El Capitan. We have got the Croxin Beast, so we've got another big old alligator thing to paint. We have an Explorer. Tentacles, already done those because they came with the base game, but this they are just little tokens. We have the Soldier. We have Serpentmen Archers. Now, interestingly, they are blue in here, but that means they would be from a different tribe. So I will not be doing them blue, I'll be doing them green, so they're in the same tribe as the other ones. Then there are Feathered Serpents. And finally, Dark Acolytes. The Crimson Hand are one of my favourite factions. And one thing I really enjoy about Valley of the Serpent Kings is the fact it'd be very easy to put the Crimson Hand in this. Crimson Hand are a fun cult that Shadows of Brimstone has introduced previously. They're in all the Flying Frogs games. Cultist. Okay, the Cultists will be up next. They are a Kickstarter kind of add-on, but you know, I'm going to put them in there because I do love the Crimson Hand. They are such a cool enemy faction, and like I say, they're in every Flying Frog game in some shape or form. Whether it be the Touch of Evil, which is the first Flying Frog game I got into, or whether it be Fortune and Glory, there is always something. I'm going to flip this around so you can see me waffle on for the next little bit. And as you can see, I'm in my kids' room here with some lovely lovely pictures there. So let's move it around. There we go. Okay, so I'm really looking down at you now, guys. Apologies. So yeah, that's it for the Temple Guard. I'm fairly happy with how he turned out. Could I have done him better? Yeah. Could I have highlighted him? Made him look chef's kiss? Yes. But the purpose of these videos is just to get this to the tabletop as quickly as possible, which means painting the core miniatures for this game so that I can just get this to the table with some friends, play this, and show you guys this. We're taking a bit of a break with Shadows of Brimstone. I mentioned like 3 times in this video. A couple of reasons for that. One, because we've got some really cool games in that I want to focus on and get to you guys. The second reason is I've had a lot of criticism over the rules for the game, and I'll be honest, every time I come to sit down at the table, if I'm playing a solo game of Shadows of Brimstone, there are so many rules for this game. Just the base rules in themselves are quite complex. There's a lot going on, and very situational stuff. If you then add in that every new monster you bring into the game adds the rules or changes the rules in a different way, and you have event cards that then impact things, the scenario itself impacts things, there's so many rules for one guy to keep track of. So anyway, I'm going back to the drawing board with Shadows of Brimstone. I'm going to go back to reading the rulebook, learn a bit more about it, read in there, really absorb that stuff, and then bring it back to the channel. So we'll be doing that in the not too distant future, but it will be a couple of months before we bring back some Shadows of Brimstone stuff. There will be an unboxing video for the Jaguar Warrior and the Ovsark Skinwalker. These guys are going to be in Ultimate Badass videos where you can see these guys in action against the Burrower, which is a fun bad guy I've never got to the table. Yeah, hopefully it can it will be much smoother for everybody involved, and they'll enjoy that, and I won't have as many criticisms, which is fine. I don't mind criticism. Whenever you put yourself out there, people are going to either like your stuff or not like your stuff, and it's fair. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. As long as I'm kind about it, you know, that's fine. So yes, Shadows of Brimstone will be coming back, but like I say, bit of a pause, bit of a recollect myself with this, get more familiar with the rules, and then come back and hopefully do some really fun stuff. And if you watch any of my original kind of Tredarin Strike team, I was doing a lot more kind of narrative in there, doing a little bit of kind of some photos beforehand of them having a little conversation and doing my voice in different ways to kind of make out that they're different people talking to each other, and then using those voices later on in the game for whenever they got hurt or things like that. So adding a bit of production value to some of my stuff. So I'm hoping to do that with Valley of the Serpent Kings. So hopefully that'll work out well. But yes, on the channel as well, we're going to be having Maladum coming up. That's probably one of the next things going to be on the table for me to record. At the moment, Undaunted 2200 Callisto is basically an ongoing series I'm doing with Jack. We are filming some more of that on Sunday. We filmed 2 so far. The next one is out on Friday for Ultimate Badasses. Everyone else has to wait till Monday. We will then be doing the next 6 kind of scenarios and hopefully get all that done before Christmas for you guys to enjoy or not enjoy, depending on if you like Undaunted Callisto 2200 or Undaunted 2200 Callisto, should I say. We'll also be doing League of Dungeoneers, which I cannot wait to get to the table, but it's such a huge box. And there's so much going on in there. It's very hard to get it to the table when, you know, you've got things going on in your life. So League of Dungeoneers will be up there. We also have Chronicles of Drunagor, which is also another great dungeon crawler. Cthulhu Death May Die turned up. Obviously, we're coming up to October. We're in October, and it's a bit of a spooky season, so you can expect to see a horror-themed board game of some variety on the channel to celebrate Halloween. So if there's any horror-themed board games you'd love to see us cover, if I have them, we can do it. Cthulhu Death May Die may be the one that we do, and I was tempted to paint it all up before Halloween, but there is no way I'm going to be able to paint some of those miniatures because I'm very intimidated by them. But yeah, so we'll see. Anyway, I've been the Eric Excitable Adam. Once again, just before I go, I'd just like to point out about my Ultimate Badass membership that you can go for. There is no pressure to do, and I just appreciate anyone who helps out the channel. Got to a point where it's it's nice to get some income in so I can actually keep the channel going with with things like Shadows of Brimstone miniatures, getting more paint sets, things like that, and also upgrading the camera I'm using, which is currently my iPhone. But yeah, so there's no pressure to do it. But if you want to add membership, that's great. If you do become a member, then you will get access to videos before everyone else. You will get exclusive videos no one else will see. And some of those are going to be some fun little things I'm trying out. And also there'll be competitions as well that that members, once I've got more than one member, I will start doing those. Otherwise it's it's not that fair really. Just yeah, one guy just getting everything every month. But anyway, I've been the ever excitable Adam. Have a think about becoming a member. That would be great. If not, no problem. And I'll see you next week if you're about for games to play Halloween, where I've picked out 10 games, I think. Maybe I'll do a bit more, maybe a bit less, but yeah, definitely a bit more, because I love talking about horror games. So yeah, we'll be talking about Halloween board games. And I thought we'd do it next week, because then if there is any of those games that you are doing something for Halloween, or you'd like to do something for Halloween, then you don't have to wait for Halloween for for someone to tell you these are games you should think about, and then you not be able to get those games in time. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. That'll be next week at 12:15 in the PM, rather than midnight, which I think I set this stream for. So I'll probably go back and edit that. Anyway, I'm going to awkwardly turn this off now with my finger going over the lens, which is always beautiful. I've been the ever excitable Adam, guys. I'll turn it around so you can just once again see our lovely temple guard before we go. He's probably stuck to a table. No, he's not. I'm going to have to wash this table down. And obviously next time you see him, he'll be on the channel. He'll have some glued on shoulder kind of armor. And yeah, hopefully this was a good instruction for you of how not to paint things. I've been the ever excited Adam. Until next time, guys, stay safe or die rolling.